Bitcoiners, pre-coiners, no coiners, new coiners, Swan Force members, Lightning node operators, Lightning newbies. Welcome to Swan Lounge, a weekly show in which you get to hang out with some of the Swan team. Today it's just me and some of our amazing friends from the incredibly exciting world of Bitcoin. We have got such a fun show today. I'm so excited. But before we dive in, as always, a couple housekeeping items. First, we are giving away Jan Pritzker's book, Inventing Bitcoin, for free in an effort to spread Bitcoin knowledge. You can go to swanbitcoin.com/free book to claim your copy. We have it in 3 different ebook formats and MP3, read by our friend Guy Swan over at Bitcoin Audible. All we ask is that you pay it forward, share it with friends and families and enemies and your neighbors, put it on a piece of paper and go put it in their mailbox, do whatever you got to do, but get out there and spread the word about Bitcoin. Also, I don't know if I'm supposed to announce this yet, but I'm going to announce it anyway. We now have it available in Spanish. You can go to swanbitcoin.com/libro gratis. That's LIBRO GRATIS. We have it in ebook formats, but we're working on the audiobook as well, so stay tuned for that. To all the Swan Force members out there, remember to look in your referral dashboard where you will find a link that you can use to send that free book while still getting the referral credit. And if you're not signed up for Swan Force yet, you know what I'm going to say. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. All right. We've got one of the best referral programs in Bitcoin. You get paid in Bitcoin to create new Bitcoiners. So get out there, go to swanbitcoin.com/enlist, get your own customized landing page that you can send to all your friends and family, and get paid to help us create new Bitcoiners. Anyone who uses your link will get $10 of free Bitcoin when they sign up, and you will get 25% of Swan's fees for 3 years. It's a good deal. Go do it. We've got some people out there who are making some serious Bitcoin just by doing what they're already doing, which is talking about Bitcoin. And to anybody who's new to the show and new to Swan Bitcoin, well, you might be asking, what is Swan Bitcoin, huh? Quite simply, Swan is the best way to accumulate Bitcoin with automatic recurring buys, instant buys, and wires up to $10 million. We have the lowest fees in the industry for what we do for automatic buys and for the easy interface. We've got up to 80% lower fees than Coinbase, up to 50% lower than Cash App, and we have incredibly fast onboarding. Go from 0 to Bitcoin in as little as 5 minutes. All right, am I getting destroyed in the chat yet? No? Good. Love you people. Let's get into this. We got a few more things, and then we are on to the show. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to read that. I'm too excited for the show. I'm not going to read that. Yep, no, I'm done. Done with the shill, folks. Go to swanbitcoin.com. You know the drill. So before I bring in our guests, what is this show exactly? I don't know yet. You've got to prepare yourselves. How you're going to prepare yourselves, I don't know. Just prepare yourselves emotionally, spiritually, physically, because this is going to be it's going to be an intense show. Okay, I've got the folks from Plebnet with me. What is Plebnet? I honestly, I don't know. We're going to find out today. All right. Plebnet is awesome. I joined up with the plebs recently to help get my Lightning node going, and I think you should join Plebnet as well. We'll talk all about how you can do that. The guests today are unparalleled. Okay, we've got Bobo Dread, one of my favorite Bitcoiners from Jamaica, who's out there spreading the good word. We've got D++, has much better hair than I do. I'm very jealous of the color she's rocking today. Also well known for her Bitcoin education. You probably know her from Clubhouse. We've got Walton. He's not wearing a bow tie today, unfortunately. I'm very disappointed in him about that, but we'll ask him why, and we'll find out. We've got KP, who is our, what would you call him? He's like our undercover spy working over at IBM, super smart guy. We've got Rajwinder Singh, who always blows me away on Clubhouse with his amazing takes. Another incredibly brilliant guy. We've got Alex Schoof, well known for his furry hat and other things that we will get into. And of course, the smartest person on Clubhouse, the founder of the Mensa Club, Philip. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm unmuting them now, and I present to you in 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. Plebnet. Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
Oh, go on.
Guys.
So I didn't do a very good job introducing you all, and I was hoping we could go around and actually let you introduce yourselves, because I don't know how you like to describe yourselves, but it's probably better than how I described you. So Dee, why don't we start with you, and then we'll work our way around the circle before we get into the meat of the episode.
Sure, my name is D++. I would describe myself as a rabid Bitcoin maximalist. I'm a Bitcoin educator by trade. I started this Plebnet, and these guys ran with it, and we're going to tell you all about that very soon.
All right, Alex, what's underneath that hat of yours? All right.
Yeah, just, wanted to make sure people recognize me from Clubhouse. I'm Alex Schoaf. I spent a lot of time talking about multi-sig and Lightning Network and fun things that you can do with Bitcoin. Just been helping out in Plebnet and having a good time.
Shit, did I forget Aaron? Aaron, I forgot you. I'm really sorry. Last but certainly not least, Aaron. She doesn't have her blue laser eyes. I'm disappointed about that as well. But Aaron, why no laser eyes?
I needed a day off. Sorry. Yeah, I'm Aaron. I'm a Lightning node operator, member of Plebnet, and it's completely taken over my life, so nothing else I do matters. So that's it.
Good answer.
Yeah.
All right, P, give us the story.
Yeah, totally. I was born on the blockchain. Y'all are just here to sort of like your posers. You came into it later. But no, I'm I do a bunch of other stuff. Got super excited about Plebnet recently. I was initially like, Lightning, like why? And then D++ was like, but it's about the friendship. And if you care about friendship, then you'll join the Lightning Network. And I did, and I was like, this is amazing. And then we spun up this whole thing, and here we are.
The rest is history in the making. All right, KP, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys.
KP,
I'm Lightning enthusiast. I'm Lightning enthusiast. Love the technology.
KP.
Right.
You gotta try now.
Walton, you go.
You're good, KP.
Try again, KP.
I'll keep talking. Imagine a world where a young... No, I'm not yet. KP, we can hear you now. You can't hear us. This is so sad. It's tragic.
Walton, do you want to go and we'll come back? See, this is why you have lots of peers on the Lightning Network, so that if a channel is down, you can move to the next one.
Yes.
Called a failover, actually. Yeah.
Find a different route.
Go for it, Walton.
So it's not really about me, it's about Plebnet. Many people ask me, what is Plebnet? And I tell them it's the fastest growing community of girth on the Lightning Network. And they say, but how do I join Plebnet? And so I spend a lot of time on Clubhouse broadcasting how to join. And simply, you go to KYC Jelly.com. That's
Walton,
KYCJelly.com.
We've got this isn't like a 5-minute show, okay? We've got at least like an hour in which to shill KYC Jelly, and yet you come right out the gate shilling KYC Jelly. Couldn't you wait to shill KYCJelly.com?
It's the one high time preference behavior I have is to recruit more to the Lightning Network, and I think that can be forgiven.
Yes, we will forgive you. We'll forgive you. All right, let's KP, are you with us?
Sorry about that. So, Lightning enthusiast, and the things which Lightning can do on Bitcoin, which is the provably scarcest commodity or money in the world, the soundest form of money. And if you can transport that thing in a millisecond from one place in the world to the other place in the world, you can do a whole lot of stuff. And that's exactly excites me, and looking forward to solving a lot of problems in technology in real world.
I'm with you 100%. All right, we've got two more. Dread, you're a regular on this show. The folks know you, but reintroduce yourself. Tell us what's going on in your life.
No problem. Greetings, everyone, again. Dread from Jamaica, as you all know, even though I've been flying all around the place, checking out the Bitcoin economies that are growing everywhere. Just like everyone else, I saw KP, D++, KP, and P, a bunch of them in here. Raj is actually the true founder of it all, but I'll let him tell you that on his own. And when I saw Plebnet, I joined in for the tech and stayed for the friendship. And I realized that it was something that was going to grow, not just within the friends, but also all the way out to Bitcoin Beach that we're connected to. So I had to just jump in and go all the way in. And I want to use a lot more words here, but I'm saving them for Walton. So yeah, I'm happy to be here with everyone else.
So Dread, I think you're the one who pulled me into Plebnet, or maybe it was P. I can't remember, but oh no.
We tagged you. I think we tagged you.
Here, Walton, let's full screen.
This one's a very PG one. This one's very PG. It's
okay, all right. What do you got for us?
Got to get the framing right.
I see. Yes.
Nice.
I can't believe you literally printed out
That was
physical versions of these.
That was quite good. To everyone in the chat, do me a favor. Every time Walton holds up a meme, give him a number out of 21. Grade him on his memes. All right. I want to know whether he's whether he's any good and what you think. All right, let's go back to this normal view. Walton stole the show for a little while.
Just to clarify, I will never be selling NFTs of these things. Just to clarify.
All right, Rajwinder, man, who are you?
Hey guys, I was just a very happy loner, full node operator. Then I made the mistake of joining Clubhouse. Found some Bitcoiners, D++, and JC corrupted me with Lightning, and things have never been the same again.
Once you go Lightning, it's definitely hard to go back. So, well, thank you everyone for joining me today, from taking time away from your busy days of shit posting and opening girthy channels. But I'm very glad that you decided to join me, because the people need to know about Plebnet. Like many of you, I got bit by the Plebnet bug, and it's quickly become one of my favorite Telegram groups. So let's get into this. A few of you have claimed to have founded Plebnet. I'm not actually sure who did. So how did Plebnet get started, and what exactly is Plebnet for someone who has just logged in and is like, what's going on this show? Who wants to take it?
D++.
Yeah, so I started the Plebnet about a month ago, and it has blown the fuck up thanks to these guys who shill it 24/7 like it's their freaking job. So what is Plebnet? Plebnet is a group of Bitcoiners, Lightning enthusiasts, and Lightning node operators that have come together to solidify and graph their friendship on the immutable blockchain. So what does that mean? We started off using Lightning in a custodial wallet. That's the best place to start. If you've never used Lightning, definitely download a wallet such as Blue Wallet. It will blow your mind. And if you're an enthusiast and a bit of a nerd like us, you may want to have full self-sovereignty over your sats and run a Lightning node. Configuring a Lightning node can be a little complicated, but if you use a turnkey node, such as Raspberry Blitz or Get Umbrel, which is my favorite, it is extraordinarily simple and there's no technical ability required. So I'm running an Umbrel node, and in order to solidify my friendship with these amazing plebs, I decided to open channels with them. Aaron was kind enough to tell me about this amazing bot called Cheese Robot, which graphs our friendship. And we now have an incredible group of about 1,000 members in Telegram and about 200 node operators in Telegram. And we have Lightning channels between us. What's so cool is we're not just having fun in terms of our amazing memes and friendship, we're also routing payments in the Lightning network. If anyone has never used Lightning, you need to understand that this is not some kind of vaporware, white paper promise of a thing that may or may not come to fruition. It works now. People are using Lightning in Bitcoin circular economies around the world. Dred will tell you all about that, and they're using it now. It works now. It's safe. It's amazing. There are folks who have been in Bitcoin for a very long time, longer than me, that have never used Lightning. There are new coiners, there are no coiners, there are even shit coiners who don't understand Lightning. There is no PR team, there is no marketing budget. It's literally the Plebnet that has taken it upon ourselves to Lightning pill the entire world. And we will not sleep until everyone is using Lightning.
Nice.
So where did, thank you for that, Dee. That was a wonderful explanation. I'll just add that Plebnet has been so much help to me. Dred is coaching me through all of this, as are many of you. But KYC.
Okay, what about the picture I drew you?
Sorry?
What about the picture that I drew for you? The diagram I drew?
You said that you were too busy and you didn't end up drawing me a diagram. Oh, you did.
No,
it just was not.
The one. It's a picture.
It was not
a picture of you saying I am too busy.
No.
Okay.
You mean you recycled the photo? You didn't even draw it fresh for me?
We NFT'd it, man.
It's an NFT now.
The little stick figure of you.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
Man.
Just got good.
I moved you to the audience. I moved you to the audience.
I see what's happening.
All right, so hold on. Where did this KYCJelly.com come from? Because that's a pretty great domain, and I feel like it should have been taken. Who had this? Why did they have it? And how did the association with Plebnet arise?
So basically, when we open channels with each other, we're going to get into this. We like having thick, girthy channels. And in order to kind of prepare yourself to accept that kind of girth, I suggested that you might want to use KYC Jelly. Dred, within minutes of hearing me say that would be kind of a cool domain, had already bought it and already linked it to the Plebnet. So Dred, you are definitely the king of domains, and I have to give it to you. He even created some subdomains for us, such as girth.kycjelly.com, where you can see the amazing girth graph that maps our friendship.
By the way, if you need to share the address with your kids, you can also go to plebnet.org.
Thank you, Raj. That's what I was looking for here.
Or you can send them to kycjelly.com and have them really understand the power of the Lightning Network.
Yes. Camilla, Camilla's in the chat. Thank you for joining us, Camilla. This is not toxic, okay? This is just the reality. This is what Clubhouse is. This is better than Clubhouse because we actually get to put the faces to the names and see the smirking that goes on when someone tells a joke, like when Philip says something absurd, which I hope he does, Phil. I really do. I'm kind of hoping that at the end of this episode we just do an impromptu Mensa room for 5 minutes.
You just say the word and I'm there.
Well, I'm pretty sure that every Bitcoin Clubhouse room turns into a Plebnet room, and then if it lasts for too long, then it turns into a Mensa room.
Yeah.
So depending on how long we keep this open, it's going to turn into a Mensa room.
And every Clubhouse room used to have like a wallet question. Now it starts with a node question.
That's progress.
It was
That's
from
good. Turn your wallets.
to cloacas quite quickly sometimes.
Thank you all.
Cloacas are important.
Say that again.
But
Go for
I
it,
was
Dred.
saying, look, cloacas are an important part of the Lightning Network, and it's really important. Cloacas, for those that don't know, are it's a multi-purpose hole that some animals have that combines the urethra, the anus, and also the reproductive organs into like one hole. Lizards have them, birds have them. The Lightning Network flows through them into the future. So
we've skipped to the Mensa part now, apparently. but Clubhouse is definitely.
I don't know. I don't know why you. That's not what this is. That's not what this is about. We've talked about this. It's an important part of the Lightning Network.
It's very anatomically important. Yes, I agree. But Lightning is the Plebnet is different because Clubhouse might be toxic, but Plebnet is friendship, and friendship is magic, and that's the opposite of toxicity. So that's why Plebnet is greater than Clubhouse on all levels, and you guys should join by coming to, as Walton says,
KYCJelly.com.
Come on, Walton. One job.
Walton.
One job.
Walton.
These bullshit. Am I allowed to swear? Already? Like how
Is that where we want to go? No.
We're building the rails of our future financial system while graphing our friendship. What's better than that?
Thank you, Aaron. You know, I was a little worried about having this many people on the show, and turns out I was right. Turns out it's like herding cats over here. All right, we're gonna have to do better than this, Aaron. Before we move into some of the more serious stuff, since you seem to be the most level-headed one in the room right now,
I don't know about
that. Could you tell anyone who's watching, you know, like where to actually get started? Like, yes, join Plebnet, but you know, should they use Umbrel? Should they use MyNode? Should they use leftover computer lying around and run Bitcoin Core and then figure out how to put Lightning on top of that? Like, what's the best thing for someone who's just joining the stream and just hearing about Lightning and really wants to take the plunge?
I think most of us use Umbrel. That's what I'm using. They make it really easy. You can go to getumbrel.com and they actually give you a list of hardware to purchase and kind of step-by-step instructions on how to set up a node. And then you can hop into Plebnet and ask questions, and everyone will help you. Everyone's super friendly. So yeah, get Umbrel. I know people are running MyNode and Raspberry Blitz. So yeah.
I also had a plugin Start9 as well. They also have a sovereign computing node that will run it as well, and it has a lot of additional features. So it really depends on how much you want to do with your node. But like Aaron says, just jump in, and the wiki will help you start.
Yeah, and we have people running all of them. I'm running Raspberry Blitz. A lot of people are running Umbrel. So there's usually somebody in Plebnet who's running a similar setup and can help you get started or help you troubleshoot issues.
Yeah, and I think just to echo something that Dee was saying, we're talking about what Plebnet is. It's basically we've got Bitcoin, which is this incredibly sound money, this incredibly stable and robust, decentralized, censorship-resistant network, and then on top of that, you've got the system that is the Lightning Network. It's a layer 2 protocol, and there's different implementations of the Lightning Network. There's LND, there's Eclair, there's C Lightning, and they all are interoperable because they use this and are based on this fundamental layer 2 protocol called the Lightning Network. So Plebnet is basically this large group of us who are all just messing around, shilling memes, making jokes, and also learning together and providing, or helping each other onboard to the system, learning all the new tools. But Plebnet is basically this thing that we created to help all of us understand the Lightning Network, learn about it, because essentially it is the, I think of the Lightning Network as being where Bitcoin was 4 or 5 years ago, which is to say, it's this thing that not a lot of people understand and know how to engage in directly, but it is the future of everything kind of. And it's certainly, it allows you to transact essentially instantaneously for basically zero fees. And so we're all learning together and figuring out exactly how it works, where the pitfalls are, and of course talking about girth and showing memes all the time.
Yeah, go ahead, Dee.
I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I keep saying that Lightning works now. And I think that a lot of folks don't understand how many people are actually using the Lightning Network because there's no marketing department. So again, we've taken it upon ourselves to do that. Lightning works now. We're using it now. It is not a promise of a thing that may or may not work in the future. So if anyone has never used Lightning, it obliterates every single shitcoin white paper. Like Aaron said, we're building the rails that are replacing the legacy financial system, and we will make them obsolete. Download Blue Wallet. You can even send me an invoice on Twitter. I'll send you some sats to Blue Wallet as a demonstration to show you that this works now with instant settlement, instant finality, security, and like P said, essentially zero fees.
Yeah, and
I think that's a really important point. Start with doing a Lightning transaction on a wallet. Then you start questioning, how did this happen? How did the money so quickly get to my wallet from the sender's wallet? And then you think about, okay, what makes the network work? And with a $200 worth of hardware, you can be one of the nodes in the network, routing payments. And 3 months ago, none of us had run a node. Very few of us had run a node. And we were just doing Lightning payments to each other. Then we came to the Telegram group. That was another level easier. Then the bug hit us, and we started creating our own nodes. And once we got going, it's basically taken on a life of its own. And we are ourselves are pretty much a big financial network in the second year of Bitcoin by now.
The other thing, Rajwinder, is because we're in this group and because we're having so much fun, we've created this peer-to-peer pressure, as I call it. And of course, as soon as I said that would be a good domain, our domain king, Dread, already bought and registered it for us. So there's this peer-to-peer. I love you, Dread. There's this peer-to-peer pressure where we are incentivizing you to use Lightning and run a node. And if you're not doing it, you're not in our club and you're not cool. And so there's a lot of people who have been in Bitcoin for a very, very long time who have kind of put off Lightning and thought, I'll figure it out later. I'll run a node someday. And we are telling you, get it now. Otherwise, you're going to have FOMO. And I remember when I bought my node earlier this year. By the way, I have not been using Lightning for very long, although I have been in Bitcoin since 2013. I was counting the seconds until the parts arrived because I had to join this group of friendship and create these amazing connections. So, if you're really friends with someone, what you do is you open a Lightning channel to them.
Facts.
So I've got this rendering up. Hold on, let me see if I can expand it a little bit. We want to show you all what the Plebnet actually looks like, aside from the faces here. So let's see what we got. This, my friends, this is Plebnet. Who wants to explain these girthy lines for everybody, please?
So Bitcoin is the layer 1 protocol. It's the thing that we all know and love. And Lightning is this layer 2 on top of it that creates payment channels. So the idea is that Lightning node operators, and all the little ovals on the screen here are Lightning nodes, open bidirectional payment channels between one another. So I have a channel open with D++. We can send each other sats back and forth all day without having to do any on-chain transactions once the channel's open. And the latency, the delay of sending that payment is just sending a couple of messages over the internet. So it settles in under a second, and it costs nothing for me to send D++ some sats over Lightning. And then what's really cool is Lightning is actually a network, so nodes can route payments to one another. So if I have a channel open to D++ and she has a channel open to Dread, I can send sats to Dread through D++'s node. And that's done with a mechanism called an HTLC that makes it atomic. So either the whole payment goes through or it doesn't. And so you can go and, like D++ said, you can download Blue Wallet or Wallet of Satoshis, which are custodial wallets, and you can just get running on Lightning today and sending and receiving sats. But if you want to have your own node and open your own channels and have kind of sovereignty over that, then you can join Plebnet and open channels to us. And Plebnet, along with the rest of the Lightning Network, is building this global, super fast, super cheap payments infrastructure.
Yeah, and Alex, one thing I want to say is you don't have to have a channel open to every single person that you want to route a payment to.
Yeah.
You can have a channel open to you, and you can have a channel open to Erin. And if I want to send her sats, I can route through you to her. One of the things that pisses me off is I hear people say things like the Lightning Network is not decentralized. Can you speak to that, Alex? Because that is the silliest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, Brecky just had that picture up. I mean, that looks pretty decentralized to me. And, what ends up happening is you do have some nodes that have kind of a higher degree of centrality, right? Like they have more channels open to them. But, we're going to talk about fees in a minute. Like if Lightning users aren't getting, the service through that node that they want, they can open other channels. Like it's a permissionless system. I can open a channel to, Walton right now and start, sending payments to him or routing payments through him. And so the network is just constantly growing and evolving and dealing with, nodes that aren't reliable or routes that are too expensive. The whole girth meme, we've been talking about girth for like half an hour. I don't think we've actually explained what that is. If I have a channel open to Walton, when I open up that channel, it has a certain amount of capacity. And that's like how much value I can push through that channel before it has to come back to me. And so the wider your channel is, the more capacity it has, the more payments I can route or send before I have to like rebalance that channel. And so we want girthy channels to have them be the most useful. So, you'll see on the Lightning Network all the time, new channels are coming and going all the time and rebalancing, and it's a very dynamic system. It is far from centralized.
For those
Alex, if you just add on top of that to Dee's point, right? If you are actually looking to participate in it, it is pretty straightforward. There is nothing you have to do. You have to just go get a piece of hardware, hook it on, set up with an internet, want to use one of the implementations available, and you can be part of the network. You want to leave the network, just shut down and be done with it. It can be as flexible and as sovereign as you want it to be, and you can use it for all sorts of things that you want. The thing which is on top of that graph, Brecky, that you outlaid, keep in mind, that's just a part of the graph worldwide. If you look at the ball of a ring, actually, there is a picture somewhere. It is fascinating, the number of nodes which are there all over the world. And the thing which is most exciting to me actually is, think about building on top of this, where banks would be doing interbank settlements on top of some Lightning network. Your customers of banks would be doing purchases for their high yield savings account in Bitcoin on their on their accounts, basically over Lightning network. You may be one day paying for insure car, pay per mile, driven in sats. You may be streaming Satoshis for the miles you are driving, and you are going to get charged. So the number of use cases is just left to our imagination. And the reason this Plebnet is just getting started, it's like 2 months. The amount of things that we can do on top of 180 nodes, and with a lot of intelligent people, like 800 of them on the Plebnet and many waiting to join, we can do a lot more than what you can imagine in terms of the use cases here. Simple things. There is a story, which is very touching story, is there is a person, a sister living in California. She had to send money to her sister who was not well in Mexico. And during COVID, she could not do that through the regular MoneyGram channel because of the COVID. And guess what? She actually sent it using Lightning Bitcoin from one wallet in California to the other wallet in Mexico, where the other side people could go to an ATM and withdraw fiat. These are the type of use cases which are going to evolve like crazy, and we are just getting started. So if anybody says Lightning, it doesn't work, come check it out. You will find it works every day, every time you actually want to do something on it.
I want to get a little more busting on that one. I hear echo, but it's the fact that people realize the Lightning Network works, but they might think, oh, but all your nodes are in the US or they're all in first world countries. Well, I'll have you know, we know that it's at least 19, maybe more countries right now in Plebnet that have nodes connected all over the world, and we're increasing almost daily. So if you think that it's just decentralized in terms of people, it's not. It's decentralized in terms of geographic location as well. So don't think that this can come down just because somebody decides to shut down the internet in one country or ban it in one place. This is global, it's unstoppable, it's a global financial transaction layer system that is going to replace things like Visa, like MasterCard, and all the fees are going to the plebs.
And the rent-seeking behavior. The banks have enslaved people for too long, and Bitcoin fixes this. Bitcoin is more than just number go up. Bitcoin is more than just getting fabulously wealthy. Bitcoin is a fucking revolution. And the plebs are leading it, and it's putting the power in the hands of the plebs, who are the people. And I love what you said, Dred, just now about how Lightning is routing payments worldwide, and we don't need any of the financial services anymore because we're taking the power into our own hands. And so here's the thing. There's a lot of FUD that's being spread around Bitcoin and Lightning. And people are scared. They spread rumors such as Bitcoin is slow or expensive, or it can only do 7 transactions per second. And these are just complete lies. It's intellectual dishonesty. You can do millions of transactions per second with Bitcoin on the Lightning Network with instant settlement, essentially for free. And the shitcoiners and the legacy financial systems either don't understand this, or more importantly, don't want you to know this because it obsoletes their entire world.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like if you install a Lightning wallet and you send yourself half a penny over the internet instantly, it feels like the way electronic money is supposed to feel, right?
And you can't do that, Alex. You can't do that with a legacy system. You can't send a fraction of a penny.
Well, and it's amazing, right? Like the fact that you can send single sats opens up all these new use cases. So there's people that are streaming, single sats to podcasters for every minute that they're listening to it. People are looking at doing machine-to-machine payments for APIs. Like you can do micro payments, in other parts of the world. Like it's blowing up in use cases that the rest of the legacy financial system literally can't support.
Yeah, and one of the things which you hear from people like, hey, it is slow because guess what? The block takes 10 minutes, but you have to understand the technology. This is a second layer on top of the Bitcoin network. Yes, the Bitcoin blocks at 10 minutes, but on Lightning, once you actually take it to the Lightning network, your payments are final. It is settled final instantly on that network. Any invoice you send is received on the other side instantly, and it is final. So that's the thing which is a misconception with a lot of people. They don't understand that part of Lightning.
That's a great point, KP. That's a great point, KP. And even with the Bitcoin layer 1, the fact that people are spreading lies that it's slow. I mean, that is hilarious because you have this essentially 10-minute finality, more or less. And the legacy system takes days to settle transactions. Lightning is literally instant. It's just FUD. It's fear, uncertainty, and doubt because, Bitcoin changes the entire world. And I think a lot of people are afraid of that, but Bitcoin is hope.
Right.
It's hope for the future.
Bitcoin started as the money of the internet, when it was a toy thing, not well capitalized, just starting out. And with the higher layers like Lightning, it is becoming the internet of money. It is a value transfer system. It is a communication system. It's uncensorable. If the authorities shut down some nodes in one part of the world, you still have the rest of the network functioning just fine. So no one can really stop you from sending money back and forth. And this is like Dee said, it's a revolution. It's a revolution in money now, just like the internet is a revolution in communication.
Right, you can't stop me, you can't censor me, my payments are immutable. Bitcoin, I don't think people understand that Bitcoin changes the course of human history. We've never had a decentralized peer-to-peer cash where we don't need a governing body or a middleman. Bitcoin changes the world in, I think, ways that people don't even begin to understand. It changes the course of human history, and it just makes me really pissed off when I hear people shitcoining and spreading FUD around Bitcoin because they have no idea that every single shitcoin in the world has literally zero value. And when you try and compare it to Bitcoin, they don't even deserve to be said in the same sentence as Bitcoin. And when I hear people talk about things like diversification, you're literally diversifying the most infinitely scarce, most valuable asset on earth with like dirt, bark, twine, and shit.
And just trusting some central company instead of some central bank. And that's probably worse. Shitcoins have effectively perfected the Canton effect, right? They've perfected more money going to those closer to the center of this organization, essentially. Bitcoin is the only decentralized currency out there.
And now everybody has the ability to become their own bank, right? It banks the unbanked. All the people all across the world that have never had access to a bank account, they have a smartphone. They're their own bank now. And just a little fun fact to throw out, Plebnet is now over 1% of the entire Lightning network.
It's actually over 2%.
2%?
What?
2.1,
to show different metrics, but there's like nodes that are just exist in isolation and are not actually participating. And so if you count that metric, it's 1%. There's about 20,000 nodes like total. But then other nodes that are actually have connections to other nodes and are actually routing payments, there's about 9,000. And so the nodes that are represented in Plebnet are about 2% of the entire Lightning Network.
Yeah, because I think we have like 160 nodes now in Plebnet. It's something like that.
5% over.
197.
And it keeps on
Wow.
going.
Are we going to get to
Resistance is
200 during
futile.
this show?
We should get to 200 during the show. Yeah.
So I've got a question for the audience. If you're watching us now and you're not running a Bitcoin and Lightning node, like, serious question, why? Say so in the chat. Tell us the reasons why not. What's holding you up? And maybe we can help you get there, because we've got some people here who they're great at convincing you to get on the Lightning train.
The only reason they're not running a Lightning node is they needed D++ to fucking peer-to-peer pressure them to do so, and now they're going to be a good pleb and run a node. That's the bottom line. And if they are not an enthusiast, they're going to, at the very, very, very least, download Blue Wallet. I'll send them some sats as a demonstration. Yeah, we have 2% of the active nodes on the network. We have maybe 1% of all of the nodes on the network if you don't count the ones who are currently stable. We also have some really great people in the Plebnet, not just the folks on stage. We have JC, who's an amazing Bitcoin OG who lightning pilled me. We have Marshall, who's an amazing class of 2010 Bitcoin miner who is the greatest. We have Andreas Antonopoulos, who's one of my Bitcoin heroes, who joined the Plebnet, who's hilarious, by the way, made some girthy jokes with us, made some jokes about only sats, and has an amazing sense of humor, opened a channel to me, and stuck around to hang with the plebs. We have BTC Sessions, who has arguably some of the best educational content out there on YouTube. Guy Swan has one of the best podcasts in the space. So we have, people who have been around in this space for a long time. And interestingly, there are some OGs who have been around for even longer than me who have not used Lightning. They just kind of put it off. And we are here to peer-to-peer pressure them to run a Lightning node and join the Plebnet and reconfigure the entire global financial system and take over the world.
Yes.
I think that it's not necessarily, the peer-to-peer pressure is a valuable aspect of it, right? Certainly for me personally, as someone who's like been in Bitcoin for a while now, you and I are friends, and you being like, yeah, come on, let's do this. That definitely was the impetus for me. But the reason that I stuck around, and that, when we talked about it, I was like, oh man, we really got to create this group. We got to get everybody in there, is because it really is this fundamental and foundational, like I said, layer 2 technology. And so I think that you come for the friendship, and then you stay for the life-changing network.
Girthiness.
Of course. But,
and it doesn't take much.
Can you guys see my screen? Because I feel like we're still sort of talking these abstract concepts.
When you say your screen, you mean your camera?
No. How do I actually share my screen? Because I think we're talking in these abstract concepts, and I just wanted to show what it means in terms of my node and its relationship to the people on this screen, and then how that relates to the larger Lightning network.
Before we get into that, I want to say one more thing about who we're attacking here, and it's not just the banks, it's not just the freedom, it's also the remittances. There are remittances going to El Salvador on a daily basis. There are remittances going to Tonga on a daily basis. There are remittances going to Nigeria on a daily basis. The Lightning Network in Bitcoin has lowered the remittances of Nigeria from $2 billion down to $55 million and dropping. Tonga is considering using it for their remittances, and they have 40% of their GDP in remittances. This is not just about freedom and not just about friendship. It's also about taking back the power, taking back all the money that they've been stealing from us as we try to transmit value to each other across borders. That needs to stop. Western Union needs to die. MoneyGram needs to die. All of these rent-seeking people that are taking money from poor people that are trying to just feed their families need to completely go away, and the plebs have the power to do it, and we are doing it today. As D++ says, it's happening right now. In El Salvador, go check it for yourself. Go fly down there and spend some sats on a pupusa, and you'll be using the Lightning Network that the plebs will be routing for you. You're welcome.
Yeah, so Dred, just to add
even before El Salvador just declared Bitcoin legal tender, which is just earth-shattering, amazing news. Even before that, in El Zante, which is known as Bitcoin Beach, people have been using Bitcoin in a Bitcoin circular economy supported by the Lightning Network. That means that folks are using it when they buy fruit at the fruit stand. Even construction companies are getting paid in Bitcoin. So Dred, you've been there to El Salvador before this amazing news about legal tender. Can you tell us about your experience there?
I mean, sure. I mean, I tell it all the time, and it's in short, I didn't spend not one cuckbuck, not one state US dollar on anything. All I did is spend sats and spend sats and spend sats for my surfing lessons, for my yoga, for my fruit in the morning, for my hotel, for my drinks at night. Anything I needed to pay for, they were willing to accept Lightning because they understand the power of the Plebnet. They understand the power of the Lightning Network, and it was interoperable. It wasn't like there was some centralized app that everybody had to use. They were using Wallet of Satoshi. They were using Blue Wallet. They were using Bitcoin Beach. They were using Strike a lot since Strike is down there now. And wallets are being built every day by El Salvadorians now. So don't think that they're going to have to, wait for somebody to save them. No, these people have started a circular economy and they're helping themselves. They got the leg up and that's all they needed. And each country will do the same thing. They'll take a leg up like Jamaica, which will hopefully will be very soon. And then we'll help ourselves. No one's asking for a handout here. They just want to be part of the global economy, and the Plebnet's making that happen today.
And it's important to note that this is possible because of Lightning, right? These small transactions for everyday purchases is possible by Lightning, and it's being used now in El Salvador and around the world.
Dee, I want to make a point very clear before we move on. For anyone who might be confused, Brock Pierce did not invent the Lightning Network. He has nothing to do with the Lightning Network. I'm a little disgusted I even said his name on this show. Anyway, moving on. Yes, I am a volcano in honor of El Salvador for right now. P had something he wanted to share with everyone. It was sort of a graphic representation of Plebnet, a little better than what we showed earlier. Before we do that, though, I wanted to share something else, which is a representation of the Lightning Network. Let me just 1 second. Let me pull this up. Here we are. Here is the Lightning Network. Just kidding, folks. This was actually the internet when it first came out, or close to it, back in 1973. But let me get rid of that because that's a bad joke. Here is the Lightning Network in 3, 2, 1. 1 second. 3, 2, 1. I believe this is the latest Lightning Network depiction. Looks pretty decentralized to me. I can't even tell where any of the where anything is.
Yeah, it exists today. It has a ton of network capacity. And if you want to be involved, you can just use it with a app on your phone, or if you want to be a node in that graph and be opening channels, it's never been easier. Like, you can use an old computer, you can use a Raspberry Pi with a hard drive plugged into it, you can use a laptop, and you can join the Lightning Network, and we'd love to have you.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's important to make clear is that there are different sort of like types of people who are using the Lightning Network. If you just want to basically be able to transact essentially instantaneously for very low fees, you can go download. Also, I'm still hearing feedback. I don't know who that's from, but you can go download Blue Wallet or Breeze if you want to use a custodial solution or non-custodial solution. There's all these different wallets that basically allow you to send Bitcoin instantly for zero fees, just as a random user, right? You don't even have to understand what the Lightning Network is or what it does or how it works. And then there's people who are like, I'm a merchant. I want to basically be able to sell services, and I want to be able to do it via Lightning. And that's a different type of user. And then there's us, who are basically like insane people, and we're like, we want to build the future of everything. We want to be routing nodes. We want to basically be, we want to deeply understand how the nuts and bolts of the system work so that we can help improve it. And by the way, as Dee said, this is an existing system that totally works. You can use this today, but we're still like, it's not enough. We want to know how it works. And so that's why we're operating as routing nodes. And everyone in Plebnet is some version of those three personas, but you don't have to be as
well. And I think there's one more, right? Which is there's a lot of really cool new applications and ideas that are being built on top of Lightning. And so if you want to play with some of those things, or if you want to build new stuff on top of Lightning and like develop on top of Lightning, you can run a Lightning node on home hardware and open some channels and build something really incredible. So there's things like Sphinx Chat, which is encrypted chat over Lightning. There's streaming sats to podcasters. There's streaming sats when you're playing games. I'm really amped about having different programs and web services that are communicating with each other on the internet pay each other for API access. That's a thing that's going to be happening. Like it's a whole new world that's coming out there, and it's never been easier to get involved.
Yeah, you know what I really love, Alex and Brecky, is that Brecky showed us that old spec of the internet from 1973. So one of the things that really pisses me off is when people say that Bitcoin is a dinosaur, or it's old technology, or something newer and faster is going to come along and replace it. You remember you saw that Bitcoin and this podcast was compared to the internet of 1973. And guess what? We're still using that same internet 50 years later. So Bitcoin has been around for 12 years. What that means is it has a track record. It stood the test of time. It has, survived the fork wars and all kinds of attacks. And Bitcoin is not just money on the internet, it's the internet of money. And I saw a tweet from 2014, I think, from Elizabeth Stark that said, Bitcoin is the TCP/IP layer if you want to compare it to the internet, because the internet is a suite of protocols that are stacked. And she said, but no one has built the HTTP layer yet. So like Alex said, you can think of Bitcoin as being layer 1, Lightning's layer 2, and upon that, additional layers will be built. There's even going to be additional layers that re-decentralize the web, which take us back to the way the internet was supposed to be, that was in the hands of the people and not a small minority of corporations. So I really just think that people really need to understand how revolutionary this is, again, and they need to understand that Bitcoin is a layered protocol, and they need to understand that there is not room for other protocols, right? Because we have one internet, we don't need competing internets, right? Because if you go on a competing internet, you're going to be alone and you're going to have no value.
Dee, we've got I think this is important. So Tyler in the chat says he doesn't understand the point of Lightning outside of foreigners using it to send money back to their home country for a little less. And then he also says, if there's a possibility that Bitcoin is going to $1 million, why would anyone use it as a currency? So I wonder if we could address this a little bit, which I think are valid concerns for someone who's maybe new to the space or isn't that deep into Lightning. Something I'll just say off the bat is that why can't Bitcoin be all of these things at once? It doesn't have. You can use it as a store of value, and you can use it for payments. You can use it for transactions. So
one thing that I will say is that whenever you have an emerging asset class, and Bitcoin is very new, right? It's only 12 years old. The first use case for any new asset is store of value, okay? After that will come medium of exchange and finally unit of account. So that said, for most people who hodl Bitcoin, they don't need to use it as a medium of exchange. Store of value is perfectly acceptable as a use case. And by the way, it doesn't need to be a medium of exchange for it to have value. That comes later. That comes later when Bitcoin is no longer volatile, when it's $5, $10, $15 million per Bitcoin. It's more of a global medium of exchange. Now that said, it can be used in Bitcoin circular economies, and it is legal tender now in El Salvador. So why Lightning? So if you're sending money on the layer 1 Bitcoin blockchain, it does take 10 minutes for that block to get mined if you get in the next block. And the fees can be significant if it's for something that's a very small payment. So if you want to buy something small, you want to use Lightning. There's instant finality, instant settlement, and there's essentially no fee. Now that said, the reason that I transact in Bitcoin is simply because 100% of my net worth is in Bitcoin. Before I was all in, I didn't transact because I knew that any Bitcoin that I spent would be an opportunity loss in terms of the amount of sats that I would be able to hodl and the amount of value I would be able to have in my bank. So I think that for folks who don't have 100% of their net worth in Bitcoin, I would suggest using the buy and replace method, meaning if you transact in Bitcoin, you immediately replace those sats with new sats, otherwise you're going to fucking regret it. Or like me, you have 100% of your net worth in Bitcoin, and so you're using Bitcoin as a medium of exchange because you have to eat, you have to pay rent, and you have to live, and you have to go to Bitcoin Miami to party with these amazing plebs.
Well,
Yeah, to answer Tyler's question, I just want to take an example of the internal economy of very poor countries. Small businessmen in villages, in remote areas in particular, do not have bank accounts. They don't have credit. They really don't are completely left out of the the local currency economy. And with Lightning wallets, they can literally be in business in a minute. Download the Lightning wallet, pay some cash to whoever has a bank account that is linked to Bitcoin. In your village, maybe there is a couple of people who have that, and money to Lightning, and then pay and get parts of the economy of a small village just as efficiently and effectively as it does for us who are sending it through Cash App or other things. We have the sending money across is actually a smaller application. The lubrication of the local economies with super fast, cheap payments in small amounts or big is actually the real killer app. That's where the adoption is going to happen. In the rich countries, we are capitalizing Bitcoin as hodlers. In the less developed countries, the adoption is going to be the magic. That's where the real action is going to be.
And I want to bring it home to people here in America too, because you have to realize there are communities in America that are just as impoverished as these third world countries. That's the lower socioeconomic, that do not have access to certain financial instruments that a lot of people are used to. And they will also use the Lightning Network to alleviate these restrictions that they get. Like people that are, I don't want to go too far into politics in America, but you know what I'm talking about. The Lightning Network will resolve a lot of issues that are happening both in third world countries and in lower socioeconomic communities in America as we speak.
Yeah,
well, and we've been talking about just like using Lightning for using Bitcoin, which is better money, but Lightning also just enables a ton of use cases that are literally impossible with the current financial system. So we're Lightning is going to be great if a common shitcoiner complaint is Bitcoin takes 10 minutes and costs me a few cents in fees. Why am I going to use that to buy a cup of coffee? You won't. You'll use Lightning, and you get to use a superior form of money to do whatever you want, whether it's in your town or across the world. But Lightning also enables classes of use cases that are literally impossible with the existing financial system. If I want to have like a social networking site and have people pay a tenth of a cent to do some operation so that I don't have to rely on like advertising and the surveillance panopticon that we have right now, like you could build that. Like one of the reasons why we live in such a surveillance heavy internet right now is because there wasn't a native way of monetizing web content. There's like a level of cost that you have to get over to collect payments on the internet in the traditional financial system with like taking credit card numbers and securing all of that, and with all of the fees and all of the charges. It's not practical to process a credit card for less than like 99 cents on the internet. You can take money instantly over the internet for payments that are fractions of a cent over Lightning. So there's going to be a whole new generation of interesting businesses and services that spring up that let people actually get paid for what they're doing and let us do things with money that we've never been able to do before. And like that's a whole set of use cases that you can't just address by calling this, electronic, cash or something.
Lightning is like Lightning is to the traditional payments like text messaging is to writing letters. With text messaging, you have so much more enabled. There are entire economies of villages, towns in India that run on WhatsApp text messaging. And imagine Lightning replacing that. Real, secured, instant grafting texts onto the traditional financial system.
One thing I just want to do really quickly is like take it back just like at a higher level, because we've been talking about how the implications of this system, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands like what we're talking about when we say the Lightning Network, right? We're talking about basically the Bitcoin network, which is layer 1, and then on top of that, there's this layer 2 technology. There's which is the Lightning Network, the Lightning Protocol, different implementations of the Lightning Protocol, but they're all interoperable. They can all communicate. So Alex can be running C Lightning, which is just one implementation of the Lightning Network. KP can be running Eclair, which is another one, and I can be running LND, which is another one. And because we're all using this defined, there you go. Aaron's got an amazing shirt. because we're all running this defined, we're all running implementations that follow this layer 2 protocol built on top of Bitcoin, we can all communicate and it's no problem. And so one thing I just wanted to show really quickly is a visual of, jumping back to much earlier in the conversation of like, I am running a node, right? My node's name is Mensa. Everyone else on this call is also running their own independent Bitcoin core nodes. And then on top, like running alongside of that, they're running a Lightning implementation. So I've got my Bitcoin core node, and then on the same computer, I've got, on the same server, I've got LND running via Umbrel, which is a fantastic way to get started. And so I just wanted to give like a visual of exactly what that looks like so that everyone can kind of, you know, get a better sense of it. So there's a lot of tools that are just being developed that Brecky, can you confirm, because I can no longer see the chat, can you see my screen right now?
We can see.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, say again?
Can you zoom in on the graphic there?
Kind of. Not really.
One second. We can full screen this while you talk.
Okay, amazing. So my node, my Bitcoin core node, right? The amazing thing about Bitcoin is that anyone can essentially, with like a Raspberry Pi 4, which is like a very small a small microcontroller or computer, you can basically spend like $200-300 and be a fully self-sovereign bank. You can basically validate every single transaction that has ever happened on the Bitcoin blockchain. You cannot do that with something like Ethereum, which is a shitcoin, right? There are like 4 or 5 what are called archival nodes that exist in the world for Ethereum. That means that like there's no way to basically audit the entire blockchain unless you're one of these 4 or 5 groups, right? In Bitcoin, one of the core tenets is that it needs to be fully decentralized, fully censorship resistant. And so that's an amazing aspect of it. And then again, Lightning is built on top of it. So what I wanted to show you here is a visualization of my Lightning nodes connection to everyone, these other nodes. Everyone on this chat has one of these nodes. So I am Mensa, D++ is somewhere in here. You can see her towards the bottom right. There's D++. You can see Darth node, which is like just above her, which is Aaron. You can see Master Yoda over like a little bit farther up, which is KP.
You're doxing our nodes here. All right.
If you're in the Plebnet chat, it's already happening. My point is, this is a representation of how our nodes are connected. And this, which you showed earlier, is a representation of how my node is connected to all of the other nodes in the entire Lightning network. So this visualization shows every single node that is active in the Lightning network, and you can see all these connections, right? So this is my node, you can see all the connections that I'm routing through, and basically what this means is that I don't have to be directly connected to any of these individuals, right? Because of the way the Lightning Network works, I can send payments. I can bounce payments basically from my node through this node to any other node that this node is connected to. And if that node is not connected directly to it, then I can bounce payments off of a node that it is connected to, off of this one, even though I'm not connected directly. And so basically you can route through the entire network in real time, which is what empowers this technology to be able to send these rapid payments very quickly for very low fees. So.
And just to show physically, this is a 7-year-old laptop. This is my Lightning node. It cost me exactly $189 to build it, and it is financially as powerful as the Federal Reserve Bank and the Chase Bank combined. It can handle everything.
Yes. Dread, question for you. Were you able to get that faucet up and running? Can we maybe share the faucet?
I had a slight technical difficulty with a Ghetto submarine swap that stopped me from being able to complete that faucet. I'm not going to go ahead and dox myself on who I was swapping with or how I messed it up, but let's just say I have KP to thank for correcting the error of my ways. And if you guys would love to know what a Ghetto submarine swap is, feel free to come to, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I think I might know another Lightning faucet I can bring up for the folks watching. So I'm going to try to find that. But if you could explain a plebmarine swap or a Ghetto submarine swap.
Plebmarine swap.
Plebmarine swap. Maybe let's talk about that, and we can kind of get into what it means to actually run a good routing node and what people need to be thinking about, and what preview of what they'll be learning when they join Plebnet. When
I would love to, except since I'm completely horrible and fucked up my last Ghetto submarine swap, I'm gonna go ahead and hand it off to KP, and he can explain to you exactly how it's supposed to work correctly, and then I'll probably take lessons and take notes from there.
And maybe we can understand,
So-
KP, you can maybe start by explaining like why that's valuable and what we're trying to attain with each channel when we set that up.
So yeah, like let's start off with like opening a channel, what that actually means, and then how to best open a channel using a Plebmarine swap.
Okay, I was getting some echo, so if my audio is not clear, then let me know.
Sound good?
You're fine.
Clear? All right. Yeah, so when you open a channel, what you're doing basically is, imagine it to be a string, which has got beads in there, and there are two nodes on the each side of that channel, and they basically deposit some amount of sats on each side of the nodes. We'll say, for example, if you want to open a 1 million sat channel or a 2 million sat channel, you deposit 1 million on one side, the other million on other side, and then you open one channel, and then you can do the transaction. The beads will go back and forth on that particular channel. Now, the ideal way, or the old way, the way we used to open it like just 4 weeks or 5 weeks back is, say, I will open a channel to Raj 1 million, going to hit back and open another 1 million channel, and then we will have 2 channels, 1 million each. If you look at the network side of it, it's actually a bad idea that each channel is actually half the intended capacity that we could actually be routing between Raj. So the idea then is, how do you create one channel which has got 1 million sat each from both the sides? You have to actually trust the other person on the other side and open a channel from one side of the string, so to say, for 2 million sats, and then you split the satoshis, you send 1 million sat to, say, Raj's side, and then Raj, basically what he does, he will actually pay me over the chain, actually outside of the channel, a 1 million Satoshi, and at the end of this transaction, or a loop of transaction, we will have a very balanced channel which will have 1 million on one side, the other 1 million on other side, and we have actually settled the payment outside of that particular channel. That's what we termed as Ghetto's swap submarine, or whatever we wanted to call it.
Hold on, we're getting some feedback. We're getting some robot voice. We gotta fix that. I guess not talking fixes that, but we want to hear your voice, KP.
Yes, I think the objective here is to have like a balanced channel. So if you're using LND, when you open a channel, the satoshis, or the liquidity, if you will, are on one side of the channel. The person who opens it to the other friend, if you will, has that liquidity on their side. So I think KP is trying to come up with a way of balancing the channel, meaning there's an equal number of sats on both sides. Now with C Lightning, you can now do dual funded channels, but a lot of us are using LND. So we invented this Ghetto submarine swap, which does require a level of trust. There's other ways of balancing the channel too. You can do a circular rebalance, or you can use Lightning loop, and you can either loop in or loop out. So you're only going to want to Ghetto submarine swap, or wife swap, as I like to call it, with your friends who you trust.
Yeah, that's a very important point, actually. I just posted something on Telegram.
KP, your audio.
Yeah.
All right.
The one thing I will say is that, I like that one, Ricky, on your face. The one thing I will say is that you wonder why you want to have balanced channels. So you could think, I'll just open up all my channels and I'll be fine, right? No. You want to have equilibrium in your life. You want to have equilibrium on your channel. You want to be zen, and you want to be able to say that, as much as you're giving, you're taking. So if you look at your local balance total across your node, you want it to be as close to your remote balance total across your node, across all your channels. And that's why every time you open a channel, it is best to open that channel with the remote balance and the local balance being as close to equal as possible. And Ghetto submarine swaps actually enable that. There's other ways to do it too, but since we're plebs, we find ways around the more expensive ways to do it. And a Ghetto submarine swap is one of those ways. And to summarize it, for those that didn't really follow the technical rabbit hole there, it's really 3 steps, right? 1, if you have key send, you open up a channel, pushed half of it to the other person. That's where the trust comes in, because you're literally giving them sats. Remember, Step one, you're giving somebody sats. So if they're not going to give you back, you've lost those sats. Step two is where that person's going to go ahead and send you a on-chain transaction to get those sats back. So it's actually 2 steps, and that's really it. They send you an on-chain transaction to get those sats back, and then you have a balance channel, and you're done.
And the reason why we call it a Ghetto submarine swap is because there's actually like a trustless version of this that you can do with like Lightning Loop or with Bolt.exchange or a few other sites where it uses the same HTLC mechanism that Lightning uses for routing to do this like swap of a Lightning transaction in one direction and an on-chain transaction in the other direction. And it does that atomically, but they charge fees. And we're a bunch of plebs who like know and trust each other. So we decided to just do it ourselves and like save ourselves the 50 basis points of fee. But that is an option that you have. And just one more thing about the submarine swaps is that they're also just a useful mechanism. If like I have a channel open with Dread and I've spent all my sats on it, now all the liquidity is on his side, and I want to like refill that channel, I can do that with a submarine swap. Or if I have a bunch of liquidity on my side and I want to get more on-chain liquidity to go and like open another channel or do something else with that liquidity, then I can do one of these swaps to basically swap my Lightning capacity for on-chain capacity or going back the other way. And so that's another thing you can do with it.
I'd love to...
I was going to just ask Dread a question because you were talking about key. Oh yeah, you were talking about key send, which was really cool, whereby you can send Satoshis to someone's node if you know their public key, and they don't have to send you a Lightning invoice. I really wish every wallet supported this. Yes. Unfortunately, they don't. What wallets do you guys like to use for key send? What are your favorite key send enabled wallets?
I've only been using Umbro with the LND conf enabled there, but go ahead, Aaron. What do you use?
Breeze wallet's the only one I know of.
Yeah, I use Breeze on my phone. Breeze wallet.
Yeah. So Dread, you changed your LND configuration file?
I did. I went into Umbro with the help of the Plebnet. Once I logged into KYCJelly.com and looked at the instructions, it was so easy. It was 4 steps. I logged in, I edited my file, I restarted my my LND service, and voila, people were able to send me sats without me sending any invoices to them.
So one thing, and Brecky, I'm jealous of your ability to change your memes. So I'm wearing like 2 hats, one on top of the other, just to like really kind of like try to compete with you. But we're talking a lot of very technical concepts, and I'd love to get your. You recently joined Plebnet. You recently set up a Lightning node. I'd love to sort of get your insight into like what are the things that we can talk about here with this large group that will allow people to feel like they understand some of these concepts more. Like maybe do you have any questions for us about all this stuff? Because we can just talk about the technical details for days because we love it.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to walk it back a little bit. I mean, so to give everyone a little bit of background on my experience with Lightning and where I'm at, I'm not a technical person. I can use, I know how to edit a configuration file. I can do some things. I can use command line a little bit, but it's not a second language to me, right? Like I don't speak code. So I'm always asking for help and I'm always trying to avoid mistakes, and that's why Plebnet is great. So one of the things that really took a long time for me to kind of figure out, and it's starting to click now, is really understanding, well, actually kind of just how Lightning works in terms of channels and liquidity. It's not like, it's not like Bitcoin, the main chain, where, it's a bearer asset and you send it and it's here and now it's there. This idea of channels took a long time. And I'll say that the only reason it really came together for me was when I started actually using Lightning and started actually trying to balance my channels. So I think that is something that is really difficult for anyone who's new and it'll take a long time to get there. So, maybe talking about how, what it means to have a balanced channel, like how to set your fees in order to kind of encourage balancing, maybe what a circular rebalance is in the traditional sense. Things like that, I think. Let's assume maybe that people can get their node up and running, and if they can't, they can join the Umbral Telegram group or the MyNode Telegram group or Plebnet, and we'll get you to that point. But once you've got a node that's up and running, like knowing how to even start, I think, is difficult for some people. And then once you've started opening channels, it's like, all right, now what do you do then? What do you do with these channels?
Yeah.
Irene is the queen of balancing.
Yeah, well, I think it's important first that you don't have to understand the technical aspects of Lightning in order to use it, right? You can use a custodial wallet, you can send sats. You don't have to understand it on this crazy level that we're all on. Yeah, in terms of rebalancing, like they said, you can do a circular rebalance, you can do a loop in, loop out. You can set your fee structure, like KP has taught me a lot about fee structures, in a way that encourages sats to move a certain direction. So you can actually save yourself on rebalance fees by manipulating your fee structure in a certain way. So.
And one thing that I think is useful to describe there is that the way the Lightning Network works is, again, if you are a routing node, which you don't have to be, you can just be someone who has Breeze Wallet on your phone and send payments, and it's just trivial and easy and instantaneous. But if you want to, be like a telecom operator who's basically like running all the stuff, and maybe one day in the future collecting some positive income from that, which, by the way, we are not, right? Because when we are all sacrificing a small amount of money. Yeah, in order to be able, so anybody who's like, Lightning Network, you're going to make a bunch of money, it's going to be great, like, not happening right now. We're doing it because
not yet
100%. But we're doing it because we think it's fun and we're interested and we want to be part of this bleeding edge thing, which is, again, better established than 99%, in fact, all the shit that's happening in all the altcoins, or the shit coins as we call them, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
Every day, or like, let's say like every week, like tens of millions of dollars are stolen on various Ethereum-based shit coins, and it's like, on the Lightning Network, like, that shit just doesn't happen because it's not possible. It's much more robust. But
that's a great point. Oh, sorry, P.
No, go ahead.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, people are like, so how much money can I make if I operate a Lightning node? What kind of APY can I expect to get? And that's really not why we're doing this. We're doing it, A, to support the network, B, for self-sovereignty, C, for friendship, and D, for girth. And so if you're a new Lightning node operator, you will simply go to kycjelly.com, you join the Plebnet chat. There's a couple of steps that you're going to take to claim your node. You're going to do a little sign of a transaction. Actually, it's not a transaction, it's a message. You're going to cryptographically sign a message with your node. It sounds way more difficult than it is. It's like 2 steps. It's very easy. We will help you along the way. So you claim your node so that Telegram knows that you're you. And you can open a channel to any of us plebs. You can open to me, D++. I am looking for girthy partners that are stable and reliable.
Yeah, and talking about Lightning, Lightning is where the internet was, where the World Wide Web was in 93 or 1994. You had a website, you put in a lot of work to maintain it, set up your web server, configure all the files and so on. Then it got easier, and then it actually became an entire communication and commerce network. So Lightning is where the World Wide Web servers, web pages were in 94 or 93, and that's how early we are. And the reason we enjoy it is just the same reason, some of us enjoyed setting up web servers a few years ago. And then it makes you proficient in the new way of doing things. And then you can, your kids watch you doing this stuff, and you encounter new opportunities in this new expanding frontier. And that's where Lightning is right now. It is just starting out, and it's going to grow very big. There is no question in my mind that the layer 2 networks of Bitcoin are going to eat all of the altcoins, the other blockchains, and everything that they pretend to do. The Bitcoin layer 2 networks are going to grow organically, and they are not taking a step back. They're just going to grow and take over the world. It's going to take a few years, but it's going to happen.
So hold on, let me get rid of this distracting filter. Give me half a second. Dread was unable to do a faucet, and I'm not sure if this faucet is working, but thank you to the folks over at Lightning Labs. This might work. You might be able to get some free sats. So pull out your wallet of Satoshi or any of your Lightning wallets, give it a try. And while we do that, I'm going to shill as a thank you their newsletter where they had this. Highly urge you all to sign up for Lightning for their newsletter at lightninglabs.substack.com. Desiree or Elizabeth, if you're watching, I'm sorry that we're draining your Lightning wallet, but I think you can afford it. So thank you for that. All right, folks, giving you another 10 seconds to get some free sats. Take a screenshot. Don't abuse it. Get some free sats. All right, is that 10 seconds? Okay, that's good enough. Let's get back to it.
How girthy is this lightning faucet?
It was. You didn't try it? You didn't try it out?
I tried it. I think it was empty.
It's empty.
I'm sorry.
It might have just gotten drained the minute you put it up, or it was already empty.
I think it was already empty. I accidentally used it like 3 times in a row because I wasn't sure that it had gone through, and then I looked, and it was only like 2 or 3
You
cents.
drained it. Okay.
I abused the lightning faucet. It's my fault.
I don't know if you guys want to get too in the weeds here, but that faucet QR code that you displayed is utilizing LNURL Pay. Would anyone like to talk about what that is? Because I think it's really cool.
I would love to know how you can use a static QR code with Lightning to create a faucet. So yes.
Yes. Who wants to tackle that? It's kind of similar to KeySend, but it's a different type of QR code.
I haven't used it yet. I know that Joe Rogers over there used it to help us fund a donation portal for Bitcoin Beach, and everybody just dumped into that LNA and paid whatever they wanted to. So it was super easy. It was a URL. You go to it. There's a big old QR code on the screen, and you scan your wallet like seconds. And we had I think we have over 10 million sats in donations already just because of LN Pay. So props to them, even though I haven't used it yet personally.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to the detailed technical implementation, but essentially, the standard implementation that most systems use is one where, in order to accept a payment over Lightning, you have to manually generate an invoice. So you basically, like Alex, we go out to drinks, and he's like, "Hey, let me pay you back over Lightning," and I'm like, "No problem. Let me whip you up an invoice, right? I have to go in and be like, you owe me whatever it is, 50,000 sats. And then he has to scan that QR code and then go and pay it on his, through his system. LNURL is a more advanced protocol that it basically allows you, it has all these other sort of options. You can basically request, not only can you request and receive payments, but you can also request and receive things like channels, so you can basically say I would like you to open a channel to me. You scan the URL, it gives you the pub key, and then you can blast it out and get it connected. So it's just a more nuanced version. And the reason that we all really like it and we're excited about it is because it means that you can have a single QR code that basically people can pay you repeatedly through, as opposed to, with Bitcoin, for those of us, those of the audience that are on the call, when you have to generate a new wallet address every time you want to accept a payment for privacy reasons. So LNURL basically abstracts that away, and it's kind of like a paynym, where it can be used kind of like a paynym, where basically you can just have one QR code you put on your website, and then hundreds, thousands, an infinite number of people can pay you, and every time it's basically.
No, I got to give a limitation to it though, because there are certain wallets that will not work with it. Like if you have Strike or
100%.
Then or if you use Umbral, then those require an amount to be sent with the invoice, and LNURL is a empty string invoice in terms of amount. So you have to get around that first. But yeah, apart from that, it's amazing to use. And if you have Strike, you can always send your Lightning to another wallet and then pay the LN invoice. I mean, Lightning moves so fast, you don't even notice you do it from wallet to wallet to wallet for virtually zero fees.
Yeah, that's a really great point. That's a really great point, Dred. And one thing that I think is so cool about the LNURL Pay and KeySend, for that matter, is you can send an arbitrary amount of sats. You can choose the amount that you send, which is pretty cool.
And there's a bunch of different protocols that are kind of in the LNURL family. So that was probably LNURL withdraw. There's also LNURL pay. There's also one for authentication. So there are a handful of applications out there where it's kind of this Web3 dApp flavor, where instead of you having a username and password and having to sign up for a service, you just like scan a QR code on that web page with your Lightning wallet, and your Lightning wallet logs you in, and your identity is just tied to your Lightning wallet, and then you can like send and receive funds to that service. So there are a couple like derivatives markets that are doing that. We're going to see lots of other stuff like that, and yeah, with like the LNURL withdrawal, instead of me having to generate an invoice and like send it, I can scan a QR code, and embedded in that QR code is like a URL for my Lightning wallet to hit and send payment parameters to, and then that service pays me back. And it just opens up lots of really cool new use cases for having like, accountless services that don't have to capture all your personal details to do cool things with money.
Lightning, folks.
Dude, Lightning is awesome. Like if you're not playing with Lightning, you need to install a Lightning wallet, play with it. In Plebnet, somebody will give you some sats, and then if you want to take it to the next level, you can run a node and you can join the network, and it'll be awesome.
To find the girth that's right for you, join Plebnet. You can find us at kycjelly.com. That's kycjelly.com.
You ever see that movie with it was like an old rom-com with Hugh Grant and Meg Ryan or something, and he's like a time traveler, and he comes to the future from like the 1800s, and he's this suave British guy. And anyway, I'm going to just tell this little story. That's the setup, and they fall in love, blah blah blah, but she works in ads and marketing, and they're looking for somebody to do the reader ad for this like fake butter commercial or something. Anyway, Walton, you reminded me of that. He was just like, fresh creamery butter. And you're just like, can you do it again? Can you do the KYC Jelly ad?
Yes, please.
For quality mirth and entertaining mirth, join us at Plebnet at kycjelly.com. That's kycjelly.com.
Slide in.
Girth, lightning, friendship. It's basically the most fun you can have sober with your clothes on. But of course, those things are optional as well.
And this is a mathematical equation, just to clarify, guys. It's friendship plus girth equals Plebnet.
Can you see how much I like lightning? It's all over my face. I love it so much. Plebnet.
Have we clarified for the audience what we mean when we say girth? I'm not sure that we have. Girth. When we say girth, it's a term that basically, like, I thought was hilarious, and so I kind of like pushed everybody to start using, and because we all kind of started using it. Basically, we're talking about channel size. So the way the Lightning Network works is like when I have my node, Brecky has his node. And basically, when we establish a Lightning channel between us, which then can be used to route sats throughout the network, we have to decide initially like what level of how many sats we're willing to basically commit to that channel, and kind of like lock in until one of us, either of us, decides like, you know what, we want that liquidity back on chain. We're going to close out that channel cooperatively, and then we can sort of claim it back. But in the meantime, it's like a bar tab, the abacus. There's all these different analogies that have been used to basically acknowledge like what it means to sort of push liquidity one way or the other.
But Pete, why would I want more girth? Like, what would be the reason for me trying to get more and more girth?
It's a great question. It's a great question. So again, all of us are basically focused on like, how can we support this network in the most effective way possible? And so what we're talking about is basically like how much liquidity can be moved between your node and another node at any given point. So like Dread and I may have a 5 million sat channel, and Brecky and I may have a 100,000 sat channel, right? The issue there is that when other people who I don't even have to know, right? It's the beauty of the Lightning Network. Like, I don't have to know. Like, there can be someone in like Asia who routes a payment through me to South America, and I don't know either of those individuals, right? The payment just goes through me, and I get paid a certain amount that I have set in my fees. The problem is that if the size of the channels that I have with other nodes, that is to say, the total amount of liquidity that is contained in those channels, is too low, it limits the payments that can be sent through me as a routing node. So if my node only supports, 10,000, if I have 10,000 SAT channels to everyone in this call, then only less than 10,000 SATs can be routed through me throughout the rest of the network. So it's to my advantage and to the rest of the network's advantage to basically set up channels that are larger. So like 1 million SATs, right? That means that anything less than 1 million SATs can now be routed through me in real time. Well, depends. But basically, so the larger the channels, the larger the payments that can be routed through you, and the more stable you are as a routing node.
Yeah, totally. So the girth is the channel size, or the width of the channel, if you will. And the way that the channels work is when I open a channel to someone, I'm essentially doing an on-chain transaction that's a 2 of 2 multi-sig, and I'm locking up the funds in that multi-sig on-chain. I believe it's in a single UTXO. And for that reason, you can't increase the girth after that channel has already been initiated. You can't change the channel size later. So you want to really open these girthy channels to begin with, because you can't change the girth size later on unless you want to actually close the channel and reopen a new one, which is kind of disruptive, and it can create some problems down the line and cost you some fees in that regard. So we like to open girthy channels with each other so that, like Pete said, we can route large payments. That's LORGE. We like thick channels. That's THICC. And, we're not necessarily size queens, but we do like girth. And that said, you can set up a minimum girth requirement. For me, it's 1 million. Although I'm thinking of increasing it. What do you think, Pete? I should bump up my girth.
D, I have a question.
To pump it up.
I have a question for everyone here.
Should I pamp it? Should we pamp it up?
Pamp it up.
Go ahead, Brent.
Pump it up. But
don't be discouraged by girth requirements of D++ and other people. We have experimental nodes which will accept any girth, no matter how tiny, and you can connect to those nodes and get on the network.
Raj, this actually leads me to the point that I wanted to make, is that for someone who's new to Lightning, or for someone, they're stacking sats and they don't have a lot of Bitcoin to contribute to the liquidity of the Lightning network, this might be a bit off-putting. What do you say to those people who still want to contribute and still want to help? Like, can you open up 100,000 sat channels and still, contribute? Is that still useful? Or, would you encourage them to, maybe open private channels to places that they want to pay, and that's it? Like, do you have to have a 10 million sat channel to
No.
participate?
No. Obviously the most important thing is to stack sats. If you do nothing else in life, stack sats. But then if you want to play in the Plebnet, the Lightning network, you don't have to have 50 million sats to, have a big important node. No. You can come in with like 1 million sats or even 500,000 sats, and get your hardware going, wet your feet a little bit, and connect to some of the nodes that will accept as low as 20,000 sat channels, and then make sure that you pay very low fees when you're opening the channels. Also, don't pay more than 1 or 2 sats per byte. So learn the ropes, then figure out where you might be able to get some more routing through your node, disconnect the channels to the nodes through which you're not getting any routing, try other nodes, and slowly you will start getting the traffic.
I think it's important too, like we all started small, right? We all were opening these like baby channels to each other until we understood how the routing works. So the bigger the channel, the more that's going to flow through it. So it's good to start small if you want to start small, and then you can increase your girth as time goes on.
Can we just talk about how the fact that
to keep in mind
is about more than just friendship? Like, we're having a lot of fun, we're making jokes, but we're actually routing payments as well, and we're supporting Lightning. So one of the things that I've noticed is there were a couple times we were using custodial wallets, and say Blue Wallet, Wallet of Satoshi, LNTX Bot, which is a custodial wallet for Telegram, which is really awesome. Shout out to Fiat Joff. He's the man. That said, Lightning works very, very well, but once in a while, there's maybe a problem finding a route. I found for myself, and at least for a couple other plebs, where other custodial wallets have failed, the Plebnet has successfully routed their payments, and we are doing more than just having fun. We are actually dominating the Lightning network, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Since this started, I've routed
so Brecky,
transactions through my node. It's really cool.
How many?
I've routed 8 transactions since this started.
You mean, wait, you mean you say this?
Right. In last
this call right
3
now.
days, last 3 days, I have routed like 50 million satoshis.
I mean, every day
That's
the
powerful.
Bitcoin
And
Beach
the
node
other thing
routes
is,
over 10,000 transactions a day and growing. So these nodes can handle a lot of transactions.
We're providing
the
liquidity
thing which
for
you
them in
asked,
Bitcoin
Brecky,
Beach.
about the size of the channel, the thing to keep in mind is that you can open a small size channel, not a problem. You have to actually rebalance that channel that much more frequently. So to the newcomers, don't get discouraged if you do not have a very large size channel or too many sats to open big channel. Open 500 minimum, and then basically you will have to rebalance it a lot, and you will learn a whole lot of rebalancing tricks as well.
KP, are you saying that it's not how big your channel is, but how you use it?
Exactly. That is the whole point, actually. And a lot of folks have heard me say this all the time. I'm a big believer of very smartly utilizing the liquidity capital that you have on both sides of a given channel. There is a concept called stranded liquidity, because you may have a very big, large channel, and that channel has done nothing for like 5 days. You are actually wasting the liquidity which is available, which could have been used somewhere else.
Wasting the girth.
So the point is, you will have to actually make sure that you are keeping that liquidity refreshed, do the rebalancing, have enough liquidity on the local and the outbound side, adjust your fees accordingly. And I think we were going to get into that. Instead of rebalancing, it's very simple, straightforward concept. What you're doing on a Lightning channel is you are selling liquidity which is on your side, local side. So if you have a whole lot of liquidity on your side, you need to actually make it more expensive for anybody else to actually borrow it from you. Otherwise, if it is cheap, they will drain the liquidity. Simple concept. So bump up the fee if you have a lot of liquidity on your side. If you are depleted, almost completely zero on your side, the smart thing to do is decrease your fee to almost zero. So any payment route is going to look at that and say, hey, look, there is that node. I need to take that route because the fee is zero. Guess what? The liquidity from the outbound just flowed into your side and your channel got rebalanced. And I say this all the time is that, look, if you smartly deploy some simple rule of thumb for fees, you will be able to balance the channel without actively doing rebalancing all the time.
I love what you said, Dred, too, about Bitcoin Beach, about how many transactions are being routed through their node. I don't know if it was mentioned already that Plebnet is providing liquidity to Bitcoin Beach by opening large, thick, girthy channels to El Salvador. So we are supporting the first country on earth that is supporting Bitcoin as legal tender. We're going to continue to support Bitcoin circular economies. That is an amazing shirt, Dred, by the way. So please let us know if there's any country or node that needs liquidity, and Plebnet will support it. I'll open a large channel. And that said, Taproot got locked in recently in this last epoch. We're going to see activation at block. I think it's 709,000. Is it 632 sometime in November? And I'm planning a Bitcoin Beach party, and I would love to see all of the Plebnet plebs there. So how many of you would like to celebrate Plebnet, Bitcoin Beach, girth, and friendship in El Salvador?
I'm in.
Geez, folks, the faucet is very busy right now. It can't handle it. But thank you to Dred for for hooking us up with that. Say goodbye to your sats, sir. They're well, I guess you'll end up with some inbound liquidity, which is
it's
always
for friendship.
Nice.
It's always for friendship.
All right, folks, take a screenshot. I'm going to remove it in 5, 4, 3, 2. Just kidding. Less time than just messing with you. All right, friends, it's been a wonderful conversation, and I want to run this back with you all again once Plebnet has reached another milestone, maybe 5% of the total network. We'll see where things go, but I'm very optimistic.
100%, Brecky, 100%.
Of course, 100% of the network, maybe 200% of the network. Why are you limiting yourself like that?
Yeah.
Okay? Jeez, D.
Because Bitcoiners understand scarcity. That's why.
Camilla is in the chat right now asking about Swan Force Friday. I don't know if I trust all of you to do Swan Force Friday. It may just end up into a really, really inappropriate shill for Plebnet. But what we usually do is we put you on the spot. We put our guests on the spot and give them 60 seconds to give everyone their best Bitcoin pitch. And you know what? I guess we have to do this. So give me half a second. I'm going to pull up our little countdown clock. And basically the way it works is you can pitch anyone you like. You can pitch your brother, your cousin, your third grade teacher who told you you'd never amount to anything, whatever you want. Nicolas Maduro, anybody. It can be serious. It can be funny. Let's try to keep these somewhat serious because the show has been quite funny. But you'll let us know who you're going to pitch, and then you will get 60 seconds in which to do it. So, volunteers, who would like to go first? Don't make me pick somebody.
Dread.
I'll do it.
Thank you. Dread's a veteran. He's done this before. So, okay, 1 second. Let's make this work. We're gonna put this here. We're gonna put Dread right there. Actually, no, we're gonna big screen Dread. Give me 1 second. All right, Dread, who are you going to pitch today?
I'm going to pitch all the OG Bitcoiners out there that have not run a Lightning node yet.
Ooh, I like that one. Okay, to all the OGs who aren't running a Lightning node. In 3, 2, 1.
Respect, guys. Greetings. I know you guys have been around since 2009 or earlier for the ones who are faking it. Craig Wright is not Satoshi. I can tell you that you've been fighting the good fight. You have battle scars. You know all the FUD. You hear people saying that you can't buy coffee with Bitcoin. You hear people saying it's too slow. And you've been fighting all of this because you know the true nature and the true power of Bitcoin as a first layer. You know that it's going to replace all of the central banks. And you know that it's going to be the global reserve currency. And people are going to be transacting on that at large scales that will be worth the amount of hash power and value that's being put into securing that network. You understand that better than most of us because you've been around for that long. However, I don't want you to miss the boat here. Okay, this is what you've been waiting on. This is the part that you have been fighting for this whole entire time. And that is to be able to use Lightning, to use the second layer, to use the Plebnet, and to use the Lightning Network to be able to show people that not only are you securing the best money in the world, but you can use it to buy coffee, you can use it to provide freedom, and you can use it to show people that all the shit coins that you've been fighting against are now completely defunct. They have absolutely no argument to make, and you don't have to argue them anymore. So relax, sit back, have a pina colada, come to Jamaica, and spend your sats. Thank you.
Love it, and right on time. Thank you, Dread. All right, folks, who is up next? Don't be shy. Who was that, Raj?
Yeah.
Thank you, Raj. Who are you going to pitch today?
You know, I want to pitch the politicians and leaders in the poor and developing countries which don't have very good financial infrastructure.
Perfect. All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As leaders in the developing world, you have a whole bunch of free money lying on the table in the form of Bitcoin and especially in the second layer networks. Please run some pilots with Lightning and see how the local economies will experience hyper growth lubricated by the Bitcoin second layer payments. You will unlock so much potential in your populations. You will get all the credit for it. It is literally free money lying on the table. You will leapfrog the rest of the world the same way you leapfrogged in mobile phones. Never had landlines, never had to install landlines. Mobile phones came and you jumped 50 years ahead from where you were in just 5 years. Lightning Network is going to do for you the same thing in the financial network. Thank you.
Nice.
I really appreciate when folks do it on time, but I also appreciate when they have something so good to say that I have to give them extra time. So thank you for that, Raj. Aaron, you were raising your hand before. Would you like to go next?
Sure.
All right. Who are you going to be pitching today?
Let's just say a general Bitcoin pitch for anyone that hasn't been orange pilled yet.
Love it. All right. In 3, 2, 1.
All right. I would say that 40% of all US dollars in circulation have been printed since the beginning of the pandemic. That's insane. And it's only going to escalate from here. You know, we have to continue to print money to get out of debt. So governments will continue to steal your time and your value and inflate your money away from you. So Bitcoin fixes this. It's a system of math. It's a system of rules, not rulers. No one can jump in and inflate your money. It's a fixed 21 million supply. You can become your own bank. You can be self-sovereign. People all over the world that have never had a bank account can now have a bank account. Bitcoin fixes almost every problem in the world. It de-incentivizes war. You can't print money uncontrollably forever. So yeah, something along those lines. And then the Lightning Network is a whole other dimension of magic. So yeah, jump in.
Jump in. All right. I see Walton nodding. Walton, I'm volunteering you. You're next, sir. Yes, yes. You can communicate in memes if you'd like, but you have to do a 1-minute Bitcoin pitch. Who are you going to pitch, sir?
I'm going to pitch all of those who are currently in Plebnet who are not currently running nodes. We have, I believe, close to 1,000 members in Plebnet right now, and only about 200 nodes. So that says that we have about 800 node runners who aren't running nodes, which doesn't quite make sense. So how can we help you 800 people who are already in KYCJelly.com to get your nodes up and running? How can we lubricate that with KYCJelly.com to get your nodes up and running? We're here 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. KYCJelly.com.
Thank you, Walton. That was a great Plebnet pitch. That was wonderful. I have a new goal for us, by the way. I want to hit 9,000 members in Plebnet. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I want to try out a filter real quick. So I can go like that when we hit 9,000.
Oh, hell yeah.
Anyway, who do we have left? We've got P, and we've got KP, and we've got D++.
I'll go.
We can't let you go with the robot voice. So D, you're going to go, and hopefully we'll get the robot voice fixed. D, who are you going to pitch today?
Well, I want to kind of piggyback on some of the things that Erin said because she killed it. I want to pitch the people who care and the revolutionaries and the budding revolutionaries.
Love it. All right. To them in 3, 2, 1.
So this is for the people who don't only just have skin in the game, they also have soul in the game. So like Erin says, Bitcoin banks the unbanked. There are billions of people on Earth who are either unbanked or underbanked, who are shut out of financial services. I'm pitching this to people who are interested not only in getting fabulously wealthy and NGU technology, which by the way is incredible, but I'm pitching this to the revolutionaries because when you fix the money, you fix the world. So forget about government cuckbucks and shitcoins. And by the way, that includes Ethereum, which is the king of shitcoins. Central banks have been controlling people, robbing people, and in becoming a Bitcoin hodler, you're able to influence the world in a way that voting cannot, because voting cannot change the monetary system. You have to vote with your money, you have to opt out and hold Bitcoin. So Bitcoin drains power from the bank, and Bitcoin drains power from the state, and it puts it into the hands of the plebs. So I encourage you to join the revolution and to hold Bitcoin. You don't even have to transact in Bitcoin. You can simply buy and hold it, and you are totally and completely in charge of the revolution.
Folks in the chat, you better be clapping. Okay, I can't tell, but honor system here. Thank you, D. All right, KP or P? All right.
So, I mean, a lot of people have been talking about the kind of moral reason for investing in Bitcoin, and I want to pitch to people who basically don't identify with that. I do myself strongly, but the thing that I love the most about Bitcoin is that the incentives are aligned. I talk about this a lot, but for me, any system that relies on the goodwill or like the moral superiority or the emotional connection of a thing is eventually going to fail, because ultimately we are all subject to the incentives that are present. I think was it Milton Friedman or someone who basically said, you show me the incentives and I will show you the outcome. And that's the reality. No one likes to be the villain in their own story, but the reality is whatever systems we exist within, we will, as humans, we have evolved to be able to adapt very quickly to changing circumstances. And the thing that is so compelling to me about Bitcoin is that it creates these incentive structures that not only allow us to support ourselves, that is to say to get fabulously wealthy, but also to support the community and the rest of the world in moving away from this bullshit fiat system, right? So,
P, was that the pre-pitch or was that the pitch?
This is the pitch. It's happening right now.
Okay, who are you pitching exactly?
I'm pitching everyone who doesn't necessarily identify with the idea of getting into Bitcoin because it is like morally correct or because it is like good for humans.
All right.
That's what I'm thinking. Now, I identify strongly with that. That's something that's really important to me personally. But the thing that is so compelling about Bitcoin, I'm pitching right now, it's happening, is that brace yourselves. Is that, again, it's like the incentives all aligned. So to me, the thing that really got me into Bitcoin is basically understanding that, as has been said a couple times, like the US government has printed 40% of all of the US dollars that have ever existed since the pandemic started. The US government has printed over 80% of all of the US dollars that have ever existed in the history of this country since the 2008 financial crisis. What that does is that fundamentally devalues all the cash that you have in cash in your bank account. So you are forced to invest in these riskier and riskier and riskier endeavors in order to basically fight against this inflation that the government is shoving down your throat. So in previous times, warlords had to basically literally go out and tax the people that lived in their areas in order to generate war. And right now, what happens is the government can just very sneakily steal funds from you via forcing inflation. So get into Bitcoin, not because it's this amazing technology that's going to save the world. It is. But because it is an amazing technology that allows you to not only save the world, but also save yourself financially, morally, spiritually. It does all those things. So you don't have to just like make sacrifices to be good. Like this is the technology that allows you to check all the boxes simultaneously. That's my pitch.
Wait, my mic was off. Thank you very much, P. That was a great pitch. KP,
that was great.
You got to follow this.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I was going to double down on Dred's stuff on pitching to OG Bitcoiners. It is actually very important. So I'm going to doubling down and pitching to OG Bitcoiners.
I love it. All right.
And my pitch is basically, look, you've been building this sound money for past decade plus, okay? And first time in the history, there is something which is very verifiable, scarce asset in the world called Bitcoin. There is a network on top of that, which is called Lightning Network, which basically transports magically Satoshis from one continent or one place to another or another wallet in just few seconds in less than you can imagine. Why don't you come join Plebnet and see how it is making a difference in life for so many people in many other countries, including small businesses here in US. Who are leveraging or are starting to leverage this technology to accept and make payments. It is going to blow your mind, and you would be very proud of yourself on what you have created over the years in terms of this sound money. And that money, when it gets embedded with this Lightning technology, which is a scalable, instant payment system, for the entire world and humanity, that is going to be wonderful. So what is your excuse? Come join the Lightning Revolution, set up a Lightning node with us, and that's my pitch.
Yes,
Claps and snaps all around to everybody. Some really great pitches. So thank you for humoring me with that. And I just wanted to thank you all for coming on. This was one of the most fun episodes we've had. And you're all welcome again anytime. I think that's all we got time for today. For the folks at home, you know what to do. Go to swanbitcoin.com, start stacking sats, but also go to kycjelly.com. Join Plebnet, or you can go to plebnet.org if the other URL offends you, which hopefully it doesn't. Join us for the memes, for the Lightning Network, for the friendship, for everything. You can find, I think, all of these amazing folks in there. You can find them on Clubhouse. Pretty sure after this, they will just go right back to Clubhouse and continue the conversation. So we'll see you all around, folks. Thanks for joining this week on Swan Lounge. We've got a great episode next week. We're going to have cryptograffiti and El Captain. I forget his full name, but you may have seen he had this amazing music video that was on Twitter. We're going to do more of a Bitcoin culture-focused episode, so it should be a lot of fun. Join us, and we'll see you next time.
After party in Bitcoin opinion room.
Thank you, Brecky, Camilla, and Swan. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Brecky. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Brecky.
I haven't ended the stream yet. I'm just kind of awkwardly allowing you to keep telling me goodbye. And all that stuff. Goodbye.